In true crime circles, there's a saying that sounds simple. Almost comforting. No body, no crime. It makes sense, until a case comes along that shatters that rule completely. A case that leaves everyone involved questioning how much certainty is really needed to destroy a life. This is one of those cases. It begins in Millbrook, Pennsylvania, a town so quiet that when something unusual happens, everyone knows within the hour. And when 38-year-old Daniel Mercer vanished without a trace, the town's sense of security was shattered, and the assumptions they made would change lives forever. What happened next would become a story of betrayal, false certainty, and a life erased. A story that would challenge everything people thought they knew about justice, truth, and the danger of being absolutely sure. This is the invisible victim murder. It's one of those phrases you hear in true crime circles and think you understand. No body, no crime. It sounds logical. Clean. Almost comforting. But every once in a while, a case comes along that breaks that rule so completely it leaves everyone involved wondering how much certainty we actually need to destroy a life. This is one of those cases. It starts in a place where nothing ever seemed to happen. The town of Millbrook sat along a two-lane highway in eastern Pennsylvania, the kind of place people passed through without slowing down. One grocery store. One diner that closed by 8. A volunteer fire department that doubled as the town's unofficial meeting hall. If something unusual happened, everyone knew about it within the hour. So when 38-year-old Daniel Mercer didn't show up for work on Monday morning, it was noticed immediately. Daniel worked at a small metal fabrication plant just outside town. He was reliable to a fault. Always early. Always stayed late if someone called out. When his supervisor couldn't reach him by noon, he assumed maybe Daniel had finally taken a sick day without warning anyone. By Tuesday, concern turned into unease. Daniel didn't answer his phone. His truck wasn't in the driveway of his rented duplex. His sister, Rebecca, who lived an hour away, called the Millbrook Police Department and asked them to do a welfare check. The officers found nothing obviously wrong. The duplex was locked. No signs of forced entry. No broken windows. Inside, everything looked normal. Too normal, some would later say. Daniel's wallet was on the kitchen counter. His keys were on the hook by the door. His phone charger was plugged in, the cord neatly coiled. Then there was the blood. It was faint at first. A smear on the edge of the bathroom sink. Another small stain on the hallway carpet, almost invisible unless you were looking for it. When they sprayed luminol, traces appeared throughout the hallway, suggesting someone had tried to clean up. The police initially interpreted it as significant, possibly fatal, bleeding, but it wasn't. By the end of the week, Millbrook was buzzing. By the end of the month, the town was convinced Daniel Mercer was dead. The police theory formed quickly. Daniel had been involved in a bitter dispute with his longtime friend and business partner, Aaron Collins. The two men had known each other since high school. After graduation, they'd drifted apart, then reconnected years later when Aaron moved back to town after a failed marriage. Together, they started a small side business repairing farm equipment. It wasn't wildly successful, but it paid the bills. Until it didn't. According to bank records, the business account had been drained almost entirely in the weeks before Daniel disappeared. Large withdrawals. Cash. No clear explanation. Aaron said Daniel had handled the finances. Daniel couldn't say anything at all. Witnesses came forward quickly. One neighbor reported hearing shouting from Daniel's duplex the night before he vanished. She couldn't make out the words, but she recognized Aaron's voice. Another witness claimed to see Aaron's pickup truck parked behind the duplex late that same night, well past midnight. Then there was the text message. Sent from Daniel's phone at 11:42 p.m. Don't come looking for me. I'm done. It was sent to Rebecca. Police believed it was staged. They believed Aaron had killed Daniel during an argument over money, cleaned up as best he could, and disposed of the body somewhere no one would ever find it. They searched the nearby woods. The creek behind the duplex. Old wells. Abandoned mines. They brought in cadaver dogs. Divers. Volunteers. Nothing. Still, the district attorney pressed forward. They charged Aaron Collins with first-degree murder. The trial was a spectacle by Millbrook standards. People lined up outside the courthouse before dawn. News vans parked along the street. National true crime blogs started covering the case, calling it the invisible victim murder. The prosecution painted a clear picture. Motive, money and betrayal. Opportunity, Aaron was the last person seen with Daniel. Evidence, the blood in the house, the staged text message, the drained account. They admitted they didn't have a body. But they argued they didn't need one. Experts testified that the blood loss pattern suggested a severe injury that could have been fatal, though later it was revealed their interpretation had been based on assumptions. Aaron's defense team fought back, but they were fighting a tide. Aaron took the stand and denied everything. He admitted to arguing with Daniel. Admitted to being at the duplex that night. But he insisted Daniel was alive when he left. He claimed Daniel had been acting strange for weeks. Paranoid. Distracted. Talking about people watching him. The jury didn't buy it. After days of testimony and several hours of deliberation, they returned a verdict. Guilty. Aaron Collins was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Millbrook exhaled. They believed justice had been done. For almost 7 years, that belief held. Until a man walked into a police station in Albuquerque, New Mexico. It was a hot afternoon in August when the desk officer barely looked up. The man stood quietly until he was acknowledged. He was thinner than the photos. Older. His hairline receded. His beard streaked with gray. He said his name was Daniel Mercer. He said he wanted to file a missing person report. For himself. At first, they laughed. Then they ran his fingerprints. Then they stopped laughing. Daniel Mercer was alive. And everything unraveled. Daniel told a story that was hard to believe and impossible to ignore. He said he'd planned his disappearance for months. The business with Aaron had been failing. He'd racked up debt he couldn't repay. Credit cards maxed out. Loans from people he didn't want to explain. He said he panicked. So he staged a crime. He cut his own arm deeply enough to bleed, but not enough to cause serious harm. He smeared blood through the hallway. He sent the text message. He walked out the back door and onto a bus headed to Philadelphia. From there, he drifted. Odd jobs. Fake names. Under-the-table work. Eventually, he settled in Albuquerque. He said he never meant for Aaron to be arrested. He thought people would assume he'd run away. But when he heard about the trial on a library computer years later, he said he was too afraid to come forward. Too ashamed. Too deep into the lie. He stayed silent while his best friend went to prison for a murder that never happened. When asked why he came back now, Daniel said something that chilled everyone in the room. "I'm tired of being dead." The legal chaos that followed was unprecedented. Aaron Collins' conviction was overturned within weeks. He was released after nearly 7 years behind bars. 7 years of missed holidays. 7 years of his parents dying without him. 7 years of a life erased. Daniel Mercer was charged with multiple crimes, filing a false police report, obstruction of justice, perjury. But no sentence could match what had been taken. When reporters asked Aaron how he felt seeing Daniel again, he didn't speak at first. He just stared. Then he said quietly, "I buried him in my head years ago." Millbrook hasn't been the same since. Some people still defend the original verdict. Some refuse to forgive Daniel. Some say the real crime wasn't the disappearance, but the certainty. Because for 7 years, everyone believed they knew exactly what happened. And they were wrong. There was no murder. Just a man who vanished, and another who paid the price for believing he was dead. Sometimes the most dangerous thing isn't what we don't know. It's what we're absolutely sure of.